Okay, hello again everybody, and this is Scott Smith back to share with you another lean life hack. I actually picked up here recently a lens, old kit lens. Do you see that? Does not want to focus, that's okay. Picked up an old kit lens from a friend of mine who had carried it in the service overseas. For some reason he said this lens stopped functioning. The autofocus quit working. Well, pretty much know why. I've been down that route before, so I did some wheeling and dealing with him, traded him out of it. And now I'm going to show you how to fix a Canon 18-55 kit lens. Not very hard. What happens is you've got kind of a cheap gearbox in here and a motor and the gear strip. Common problem. So common, in fact, that you can buy replacement motors and gearboxes for these off of eBay for $10 or $15. And you can get them off of Alibaba for less, or at least you could before we revamped all of our trade agreements with China. That might change. Anyway, you know the routine. Grab a cup of coffee. Get ready. Here we go. We're going to learn how to rebuild your 18-55 EF kit lens when the autofocus quits working. Here we go. Okay, welcome everybody to another Lean Life Hacks do-it-yourself project. I got this Canon lens here. It's just a common kit lens that comes with the Canon. Lower line DSLR cameras. It's the 18-55 millimeter, and the autofocus doesn't work, and there's a reason. Common to these Canons, the gear box, see that, has went bad on it. So we're going to go ahead and replace that. I got the part through Alibaba from China, because it's a common problem with these. I got the part for $13, $14, and so we're going to replace it, and then we're going to see what happens. Now, let me give you a shout out to this ORIA electronics toolkit. The reason I like this so much, my favorite toolkit actually, is because not only does it have a wide array of electronics formatted screwdrivers, but it's got the JIS, the Japanese Industry Standard. Let me turn this around so you can see it. Yeah, everything's backward. The Japanese Industry Standard. Come here. Will you focus? Will you focus? Nope. Oh, killing me. Killing me. There we go. Alright. Japanese Industry Standard bits. The J bits. Very important when you're working on anything that was manufactured in Japan as far as electronics go. So, I'm going to start off here. We've got two little tiny screws that are actually holding this contact in. So I'm going to go with my smallest bit to get those two little tiny screws out, and then we'll go up from there. This is a configuration that I always use. As you can see, I've got a small hard surface with a lens cleaning cloth on it. I have my toolkit. I have a little cheap tray that I got at the local computer store for holding the tiny little screws, springs, and whatnot that you might find in these. One thing I have found that when you lose these, you generally lose them very well, and you lose them forever. So my advice would be to get one of these. Also, if you can see, there you go. If it'll focus, it doesn't look like it's going to, which is fine, whatever. This is magnetized, so that comes in handy when you're dealing with these tiny little components, especially when you need to put them back together. The reason we take this out and don't leave this attached to the rear of the lens is because there's a little ribbon cable that connects it in there, that if you don't take it out, it makes life hard for you. So anyway, as you can see, once you've taken that out, this is free floating then. And now I want to change bits and go after these 4 somewhat larger Japanese industry standard screws right here. These kit lenses, the 18 to 55, are pretty straightforward and easy to work on. Many of the others aren't. So I'm just going to pull this one apart really quickly, show you how to change this. It's not complicated, but it does require a little bit of a soft touch. I actually like to put them in these little containers in a way that is conducive to the way I take them apart, so that way I pretty much know where each item goes when we're done. You don't really have to have a magnetic screwdriver, but man, it sure does come in handy. Okay, so we're going to take this cap off. Notice that that contact stayed intact. And that's important because we have to take it out of its, out with the circuit board. It doesn't actually come out with it attached. So what I use to unplug these fine little ribbons, you can see those. You've got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just like to use a pair of, oops. Oh, and these rings. I forgot about these rings. These rings come off next. And then I like to use a pair of tweezers to grasp these little ribbon cables and just take them out. Try not to damage them. There are little holes actually in most of them that will come out, make it easier to pull them out, like so. And then if there's not, then such as in this one, there's actually a little grabber right there. So there we go. So now we have that apart. And this just fits on there. Memory serves, these little buffers hold them on. So we want to take these, I think. Let's see. Perhaps, yes. It just lifts up. These just lift up ever so gently. And then they're just posted in. And then you can lift this up and set it away. Like so. Okay. And now, as you can see, we have the gearbox. And that's what's bad. There's actually a series of little gears in here. And I'll take this apart and show you exactly what the problem is. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. And this one I think has actually a couple of issues. Yeah, I can see like this is a major issue. And we'll discuss it here as soon as we get this out. out. This out. And one's actually longer than the other. You can see that. So we want to make sure that we've got them correct. And this should just lift off like so. And this is the problem right here. You have a gear that's right here that is actually stripped out. And it's a tiny little fellow, but it is stripped out and no longer serviceable. And that is what is the cause of all the trouble. So we're going to actually take this whole box out. And I could actually, in most cases, rebuild this, because as cheap as these replacement motors are, the little gears are even cheaper. And I actually have a set in there, but the problem is on this one, and I will work this out and then show you. This. Come out of there, darling. Where are you hanging up? What are you hanging up on? Let's see, something back here is causing it to hang. Oops. Oh. You know what that is. That is actually I forgot to disengage the autofocus switch. So that actually should have been up in manual focus mode, and then it would have came right out. So yeah, make sure you disengage the autofocus switch, because that will have to come out. Now, what I want to show you here that is a problem with this. So this has got a couple of issues. This little ribbon cable is broken, as you can see, so that's not going to function. And then not this gear. This gear's fine. It is this gear here that actually is stripped. Let's see, I'm going to try to work this. I don't know if you can see that or not. Unfortunately, I don't think this camera is going to focus on it. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to get it over this white. And don't know if you can see that or not, but it's stripped. Stripped. I'll throw some photographs up of it. But that's the problem with this. That's why this isn't working. Autofocus absolutely can't work when that gear is stripped out like that. But that's how it goes together. And it can't work when the ribbon cable is broken. So this is actually pretty much a dead soldier. It's never going to work again, just because I don't have any way, or want, actually, for that matter, to attempt to try to resolder that ribbon cable. It's just too cheap to buy the whole piece, so there's just no reason to. Alright, so here we are. As you can see, that little ribbon cable is intact. So we can put this little fellow back together like so. This is the way it came out. Hardest part is going to be getting that to line up and to fall into place. There's a little post done in there that you have to get onto first. It's located right over here, so you're going to get onto that post before you do anything else. And it's kind of a tight fit. I want this to be back. And there we are. And you just kind of finesse it in there, getting your making sure that you're fitting your switch into its case here. Otherwise, it absolutely will not work. Okay, so that is not in. And until we get that in, this is not going to work. So I've got to take this out again and take a look at this, because there should be some way. I think that's going to have to be. This is going to have to be angled in such a way as to fit in that slot. And therein lies the problem. Okay, now I believe I have her in there. Yep. Nope. Yep. 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 It is actuating. So I need long screw. And another long screw. focus right now. And now it's just a simple matter putting this back together. We have an extra there because that goes to hold the cap on. And what I'll probably do is take that apart and then save it because the motor's good on it, and who knows what you can use a motor for, huh? Alright. Everything else in there looks good, and when I get this together, this should work. So, pretty much getting it back together is just going to be a reverse of taking it apart. And what we're going to do is we're going to find how these switches line up. Simple matter of comparing the size of the switch to the size of the cables. This is my broadest switch right here. It's my broadest receptacle, so then I know somehow this has to fit together like this. You see, so I want to put each of these posts, and then be careful about your cables if they don't get jammed up. Each of these posts on each of those buffers, like so. Very simply and easily push it down there. And then the trick is to plug these all back in without causing any damage. Sometimes easier said than done. I like to use my tweezers to get it started. And you got to be gentle with these because it doesn't take much to mess them up. It does not take much to mess them up. Use those little holes that are in the cable itself. I find that extremely helpful to use your tweezers and to guide them in by that little hole. And you just have to be patient. You truly, truly do. Because you certainly can't horse it or cowboy it in. You just gotta finesse it in very gently and slowly. Because those little micro contacts are very, 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 very fragile. And we've already seen that if you break that little tiny ribbon cable, then it absolutely doesn't work very well after that. So you just have to be real careful and easy, not get in any hurry. Sometimes with this one especially, if memory serves, I have to use my finger to guide it in. And nothing about this is easy, just so you know. And it's not designed to be easy, it's designed to be complicated because they really don't want, I don't think, at the factory, everybody working on these. I think that they pretty much want to keep you coming back to be dependent. There you go. There's 2 down, 2 to go. And we should have a perfectly fine, working, wonderful lens as a result. And we fixed it for about $13. And not a whole lot of time. 3. Again, use this little hole to your advantage. Yep, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost done. Now you want to apply your little rings again. pretty much in the same way that they came out, and if you weren't paying attention, you don't know how they came out, well, that kind of makes two of us, but I think we can look at this and figure it out. So obviously these have to go, these are going to have to go over the holes that are there. So we've got three holes here, and they don't coincide that way. So that's not how it goes. So that's the trick. The trick is going to be matching these holes up because the screws have to go through the holes. So let's look and see what three are uniform and which one's offset. So we see here these three seem to be more uniform, if you can tell. And then that one's offset. Yep. And then that lines all the holes up. And so we just set the other one on top in the same manner. And I would say to you to line these up. Oops, I had them lined up and now I don't. Like so. Apply your cap. Very gently and easily, slowly. There we are. And now you'll know you messed up if they don't go into the holes because you're going to have that film on the other side. Okay, that one went. So then if I can just get top and bottom. Oh yes, very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, so now it's just a matter of tightening these down. And we're going to give this a try in just a second. Okay, so now you see we've got our contact here, and that should accept these two tiny screws on the side. Should, and hopefully will. I'm going to change this bit. That one tightened. And that one tightened. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Now we have a lens that has been refurbished. Let's see if it works. Okay, so here we are. This is my Canon ATD. I'm going to go ahead and move all my stuff out of the way here, put my tools up, and then I have all the confidence in the world that this lens is going to function flawlessly. Just because it's not that complicated, and we took our time, we were careful, we did a good job, and we'll give her a shot here. This is an EFS lens, so it will fit the crop sensor body, which is what what the Canon 80D is. So we're going to line the white square up with the white square on the body. Turn, we're on manual focus. We're going to switch to auto, because if autofocus works, anything will work, right? Turn this on. And look at that. Okay, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is how you rebuild a Canon lens, or at least a Canon kit lens, 18 to 55, beginning to end, when the autofocus doesn't work anymore. 99% of the time, it's going to be that motor. You can order it off of Alibaba for 13 bucks, off of eBay for about the same price. And that's a quick, easy, painless fix. Have a great day.